Yeah, let me say good morning. Today, I'm kind of going all around the city of Houston. This is Palm Sunday. And on today, all of our churches and people of faith, Christians, and the churches just would be full. And not to say that they are not occupied and full every Sunday, but for many of the Christian faith, today is a very special day. This is Palm Sunday. And of course, we know that next week is Easter. And then for other faith, for Jews and others, this is Passover. So Passover is approaching. So I wanted to kind of go around and just see whether or not our churches, the buildings, people were attending, or were they doing it streaming online. And today we're here in District K with Councilmember Martha Cass-Tatum. And then we're here at Fountain of Praise with Pastors Remus Wright and Mia Wright. And look, I want to thank these two pastors of Fountain of Praise. And I want to thank the membership of Fountain of Praise for just working with all of us, because this is I don't know if this is getting this math right. This is a team effort, but this church would be packed. Fountain of Praise would be packed, but the pews are empty. They're streaming online. The message this morning was very, very strong. And I want to thank the pastors of this church for just working with all of us. I can't say thank you enough. And they represent so many other faith leaders throughout our Houston region who are joining in the effort. And the message is very simple. We're all on the same team. And we're all trying to achieve the same goal. And that is to flatten the curve, to slow the progression of this virus, such that it does not overwhelm our healthcare delivery system. And we're all on the team. We all have a role to play. And so I want to thank them. And in fact, Pastor Remus Wright and Pastor Mia Wright, if you will come forth and with your own message. I know the message that you gave online. But let me tell you, I believe the city as a whole need to just be reminded. And oftentimes, it's not just hearing it from me, Councilmember Martha Cass-Tatum, but you all represent our faith leadership. And so let me bring them both up. And I want to thank them again for their leadership and what they're doing, and for the membership of Fountain of Praise.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Well, certainly what we would like to say to all of those listening today is that it's very important right now for us to listen to and to abide by the guidelines that have been set up by our government, by our city. These are not guidelines that are too strenuous for us to fulfill. They're given for the reason of trying to protect our community. And let me say to all the Fountain of Praise family, we are asking you, if you have a mask, wear it. If you don't have a mask, get one. Create one. That's right. We're really pushing that. And of course, next Sunday we will not be having service here again. We will be having it online, because even though it might be permissible, we do not feel it's expedient or practical for us at this time. We want to maintain the health and the life and well-being of all of our membership. Mia?
Yeah, we're just encouraging everyone, stay home. Stay home as much as you can. Stop the social gatherings. Remember, be socially distanced. If people don't live in your home, keep your home safe, keep yourself safe, and follow all the other precautions. I want to say about the church is still alive. The church is happening, worship is happening, and everyone's home. And that's how it began. That's how we'll continue. And so we just want to encourage you all in this time, remain faithful, remain prayerful. We will get through this as a community and together. I want to thank our mayor for his leadership as well, because he has done an outstanding job in making sure that we have the communication that is necessary, and making sure that we know what we should be doing, and then also by modeling that example of what leadership really should be. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all who serve with you.
Thank you. And we have Councilmember Martha Cass-Tatum, we're in District K.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reiterate what has already been said, the importance of staying home, taking precautions. If you have cloth masks, please wear those. We do want to try to save the medical grade masks for our healthcare workers. I've seen people being very creative with their masks. I've even seen people online using crib sheets for the elastic that is needed for the mask. So we're asking everyone if you would continue to stay at home. We want you to remain safe. I am thoroughly encouraged by the lack of people that are on our streets and out and about, but it's important that we continue to flatten this curve and make sure that we do everything possible to keep our community safe. History has shown us that we will get through this economically, but we cannot bring people back that may perish during this time. So please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, take care of each other, and we will get through this together.
Thank you. And I just want to say in the city of Houston, even though we've tested over 4,000 individuals, there are a lot more that need to be tested, and we certainly want to ramp that up. And that's why the mask becomes so important. And that is, there are people who can walk around in our city, be at home, that are asymptomatic. No symptoms, no dry cough, no tightness of chest, no fever. But that doesn't mean that they're not contagious. So the purpose of this mask is not so much to protect yourself, but it's to protect yourself from somebody else. If you are walking around asymptomatic, you can look fine, but that doesn't mean that you're not contagious. And so, and the mask, we're not talking about the N95 mask or KN95 mask or surgical mask, just what I call a face covering. And in fact, let me encourage people, you can be just as innovative or be as creative or decorative. The council member is wearing a mask that's representative of her sorority, AKA is pink and green. And in fact, Master Millwright is also an AKA. You know, so you can be just as creative as you want to be. But the point is, you know, if you are out and about, the purpose of the mask is to protect you from someone else if by chance you happen to be asymptomatic, but you have the virus. The other thing too is that, as you know, we want to be very, and let me be very focusing on this. We want to be very intentional over the next 2 to 3 weeks. April is our month in the city of Houston. This is our month to do everything we can to flatten this curve. So we're going to have to be very intentional. The 472 basketball goals in the city of Houston, for example, in our parks, you know, I've ordered to be, they've been taken down. Tomorrow we're going to start taking down the volleyball nets. I am redirecting many of our park personnel and my parking meter people to the parks, to monitor the parks, to make sure that we're engaged in social distancing and that our parks are not overcrowded. We have to be very intentional, okay? What we are doing is working, but I want you to know this is not the time to become complacent or to drop our guard. So let's keep doing what we are doing as we move forward. But the month of April, I cannot stress that enough. The month of April is a critical month in the city of Houston. Every single day through the month of April, I'm expecting the numbers to continue to rise. And I want to say that the numbers will continue to rise. It could be 100, it could be 125, it could be less than that, but the numbers will continue to rise because we are doing more testing. At the same time, I will say that there are many other regions that where they're facing these problems even more, for example, than the city of Houston. So I've been advised, and we're trying to confirm, but been advised that the federal health care partners that we have in the city, you know, 3 at each one of the sites in Houston and Harris County, but I've been advised that they may be leaving the city of Houston, okay? Which means that we are going to have to shoulder more of the responsibility at our testing centers and even as relate to our labs. So I just want to put that out. We're going to have to do more right here in the city of Houston and Harris County. So let's hunker down. Let's work at this together. I know Passover is coming. I want to thank you in advance for what you are doing. Easter is coming. I want to thank you in advance. I know for people of faith, this is going to be a very difficult, tough month. I know that. But let me just say, your cooperation and your participation will be very much appreciated. And together, we will overcome this.
KHAU is providing the pool, but there's a number of questions from other TV stations. The first from KHAU, what's your message to Houston as Holy Week begins?
Well, my message is that, like I said, I mean, this is going to be a tough month for people of faith. Today is Palm Sunday. Next Sunday is Easter. Passover will be starting as well. And so my faith is not dependent on the venue, okay? So what I would say, wherever I am, God is. If I'm at home, God is. If at City Hall, God is. Wherever I am, God is. But I think the pastors can better answer that one than I can.
Well, I think that because this is the first time in history that this has ever occurred, and I want you to think about that. This is the first time in certainly modern history, if ever before, that an issue like this has occurred, that Easter has been preempted by virtue of some kind of pandemic. But I think that faith is an action word, and I think our faith should be stronger. It should energize us to recognize that although this Easter Sunday, this date that we mark aside or we lay aside for the resurrection of Jesus Christ, is going to be hindered by virtue of the fact that this is happening, the reality is that our faith should be stronger. It should be stronger, and we should be looking at what's going to happen in the future. We will get through this as a city. We've got great leadership to help us. We will get through this as a nation. We'll get through this as a world. And I feel that the most important thing right now is to let your faith point toward tomorrow and what God is about to do. Just keep yourself safe today.
Another question from Kay. How does allowing in-person church services, which was not done here, work with flattening the curve? Because some churches are still having.
Well, the key is social distancing. That's the key. If your churches are packed, or synagogues are packed, or mosques are packed, and you're right there close to one another, you cannot practice social distancing. And let me tell you, you can say, Mayor, I feel fine. I don't have any symptoms. I'm going. Well, but you don't know whether or not you're contagious. So just because you don't have any symptoms doesn't mean that you're impacting someone else. And the fact that we are not assembling the way we are so accustomed doesn't change history, okay? So from a Christian perspective, Jesus still rose. Us not attending is not going to change that. The Passover still occurred. It's not going to change that, okay? And if my faith is predicated on a location, and if you can't get there, you're in trouble. So I understand, trust me, I understand. And I know for many it's going to be difficult. The only thing that I can do as your mayor is simply just ask you to be considerate of others and ask you to, and as best you can, to comply. And that's the appeal.
Also from KRVE, Channel 26, is there any circumstance where you would implement an order to wear masks while in public or face fines, jail time, such as what has been done in the city of Laredo?
Well, look, one thing I know about the people in the city of Houston, when we have provided people with the truth, information, people respond. We did that during Hurricane Harvey. We did that through the Tax Day flood, Tropical Storm Imelda. We have gone through so much in our city over the last, 4 or 5 years. We say hashtag Houston Strong. We say that for a reason. I don't think that I have to penalize you for everything in order to get people to comply. I think if you provide people with the information, if we all recognize that we are connected to one another, that our destinies are in each other's hands, and I believe Houstonians will step up and continue to do the right thing. I believe that.
From Channel 11 KSUU, the president keeps saying it was the responsibility of the individual states to be ready for the coronavirus. The fact that we're lacking what we need, is that the state's fault or the federal government's?
Well, look, I'm not gonna cast fault. That's not gonna help us at all. You know, only thing I need to know is what resources are coming our way, or what resources are being leaving us. And then, if I know what it is, then we will act accordingly. This is not, when you're in the midst of the storm, I'm not going to decide, you know, who was to blame for bringing us into the storm. We're in the storm. The only thing I'm concerned now is how to bring us out of the storm. And then after I'm out of the storm, then we can assess how we got in the storm. But for right now, and it's hard to talk when you got this. And so look, you know, normally you don't touch, okay? But it's just hard to communicate when you got it on. So I hope people will understand that. But the point is that we are in the storm. And we're going to be in this storm now over the next several weeks, which is going to be a critical phase for us. And that's why it's so important for all of us to be operating as a team as we are in the storm, going through the storm, working as a team in order to come out. Afterwards, we can debrief and then prepare to be much better the next time around.
From KRB, are we seeing a need to open another testing site? Do we have the supplies to do that?
Right now, we don't. As I was said, what I've been advised is as of April 10th, our health partners, federal health partners from Health and Human Services, that we have 3 at each one of the sites, they are going to be redirected someplace else outside of the state of Texas. So we are going to have to pick up the load here, provide, even do more, and even on the testing site. So we're looking at how we can be a little bit more robust in doing more testing. But in the meantime, what will help, now this is whether we test or not, what will help, social distancing, you know, minimizing being in the presence of large crowds, that's what will help. And then putting on these face coverings such that if you do have it and you're asymptomatic, you're not going to be spreading it to someone else. That will help regardless of whether or not the testing increases or not.
And last question, you've addressed this a little bit, but how has the cooperation with federal and state health services been? Any delays in getting PPE testing equipment, logistical difficulties?
Well, I think we all know, again, I think we all know that we've had difficulty in getting PPEs. That's a fact, and, you know, that is true. We all need more. We're all scrambling, whether it's government or whether it's our healthcare system. We're all scrambling to make sure we have more PPEs and the things that we need. So that's just the reality. You know, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time complaining about that. You know, we know what we need, and we're looking high and low to find what we need. That's why on Wednesday, we have the drive at Minute Maid from 12 to 3, working with different organizations, Chenier Company and the Astros, and I can't think of the third, Project Cure, in which we are asking companies and people in our city, if you have PPEs, if you have the KN95 masks or the N95 masks or surgical masks, gowns, if you have those type of things available, please bring them to Minute Maid on Wednesday between the hours of 12 to 3. These items will be distributed to our first responders and healthcare providers. If you don't have those and you want to make a financial contribution, we certainly will accept a financial contribution, but all of these items will be given to our first responders and healthcare providers because they are on the front line. So if you have them on Monday, 12 to 3, Minute Maid, we certainly would appreciate your donations. And then lastly, what I would say on Thursday at noon, wherever you are, at home, in the park, at a faith-based institution, at your job, wherever you are on Thursday at noon, we're going to ask that you just stop wherever you are at noon, say a prayer for our city and our country, say a prayer for your family, or just pause for a moment of silent meditation. But wherever you are on Thursday at noon, going to ask that you pause and say a prayer. And because what I do know is that when we have done everything that we can humanly possibly do, it is our faith that will bring us through. So Thursday at noon, let's just pause and say a prayer. And number one, and then before you end, just say thank you. Because in spite of it all, we still have so much to be thankful for. And I am blessed to be the mayor of this city at this moment in time. So much to be thankful for. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you for your leadership, Mayor.
No, thank you all, because let me tell you, you can't lead effectively if you don't have other folks leading as well. So, and I know for this month, I'm a Christian. I know this is hard.
Yeah, but you know.